After the double-headed challenge of Okayama and Donington, it's time to get back to something fast, something high-speed, something that on iRacing will always be dry and raceable. Yes, tonight we take the plane from England to Stavelot in Belgium, because tonight the Race Anywhere World Series is here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and it is here live on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig King, butchering names once again, and with me is Steve, proudly on the cameras. As I was saying, tonight we head to the classic track for drivers of iRacing. It's Spa. Bit of history as per usual. Originally a road race in 1921, made into a circuit in 1939. Numerous changes. Last change 2007. And when I say change, I mean the circuit, not the extremities like that's happening at the moment at the track. It is now 7 kilometers long, 20 corners. And if you're looking at the race, the fastest lap around here, once was done by a car that has no regulations in the Porsche 919 Tribute, but it's now Valtteri Bottas in that Mercedes W09 or 146.286. We're not going to be seeing those times tonight. It's going to be the endurance layout tonight. Now, what do I mean when I say endurance layout? Well, as you can see, that there on the screen is the start-finish line. We just missed it there. That's the start line. It's after La Source, but it's just like the 24 Hours of Spa. It's that format where we're taking the start line there. So the first corner is literally Eau Rouge and Raidillon. And speaking of Eau Rouge and Raidillon, that's where the pit exit is going to be. So because of it, this makes this one of the longest, if not the longest pit lanes in motorsports. I'm trying to think of something longer. I've yet to find something longer. Because you think about it, if you were to take a fuel stint here, you're looking, even if it's just a fuel, especially in this format, you're looking at about over a minute, maybe a minute 10 around here. That is how long it is, to the point that we're going to be very confused during the pit window who's where, due to the fact that when you pit, you're probably going to be seeing the relative, the guy you're racing with, is behind you, ready to lap you. That is the nature of the pit lane here. And with 2 mandatory pit stops, it's going to be crucial that they get this fuel saving right. And of course, fuel saving is interesting. We haven't seen a lot of that in the last 2 races. Okayama, Donington, they were race tracks that really brought out a skill element more than a speed element. And with the slipstreams here, we talk about the high-speed tracks around, the high-speed areas around here. So you think about the Camel Straight, there'll be lots of places there that you can lift off the throttle, save yourself some fuel before you get down into Lake Coombe. And then even more, you could even do that going down to the run down to La Fagna. But of course, you do have that down into Pouhon, just a corner before. I know it's double gauche, it's still Pouhon to me and others. And then also right down after Blanchimont, before the chicane, bus stop chicane, another place you can save fuel. That's going to be crucial in terms of who is anyone going to get an extra lap around here. What's also crucial is you can see that information, 19, almost 20 Celsius for a track temp. It is 11:25 in the morning with a sim time, of course, the 9th of February. I don't know why that's a very important day, but the 9th of February, so it's still winter in Belgium. So cold track temp means faster speeds. In practice, we've seen Oscar Copa break the 2-minute 15 barrier, but all the pros and pro-hours, most of the pro-hours are doing 2:15s, with the amateurs just around that 2:16 mark. So that promises to be something very interesting to see. Is the pace, will it keep up there? The tyres won't wear as much with a colder track. But that also then raises the question, are we going to see more lap time? Are we going to see more laps, sorry? That's something we have to keep an eye on as well. So strategy from the get-go changes due to that time of day. We're looking forward to it. We do have a smaller grid tonight, as you would expect with the Bathurst 12 Hours just a few days away. And if you are doing the Bathurst 12 Hours, good luck and go well. I may see some of you, but we shall wait and see. But some of these drivers are using what they learned from the iRacing officials last week, where the GT series were here at Spa. So they are going to use some of that, and probably also use the same setups or just tweak them a little bit just for the fuel capabilities here, which would be very interesting to see. Practice is soon to be over. In fact, we thought they would roll over. There is still 3 minutes of practice, which gives me bit of a time, of course, to shout out to the sponsors. Race Anywhere, of course, raceanywhere.co.uk, providing you with decent sim racing hardware. We're talking the new Logitech, we're talking the new Thrustmasters, and we're talking all of the accessories made by sim racers for sim racers, so do check them out. And of course, Sim 3D, as per usual, which provide 3D printed button boxes, rumble kits for your pedals. They are very good, and I think Chaz Draycott, someone who has also done work for us here for Absolute Sim Racing, has actually got a review of one of the early models of those rumble kits. So do check that out if you feel like it. So a quick rundown, quick wait here as we just see the practice time to give us a chance to have a quick rundown of the championship standings. And it's very close. We're at this stage of the season, we're almost at halfway. And in the amateur, Michael Patterman has been free from 4. I say 4. He didn't get any points the first race. He's currently sitting on 330 points. Then Juan Calleja sitting on 310. Then it's a tie between Dean Timms and Andy Mado in third place with 295. Followed by Simon Dodd on 290 and Timothy van der Broek on 285. I usually do the top 5, but with how close it was there between 5th and 6th, and how close it is full stop, it's only fair to put Timothy's name down there. The Pro-Am's Alvin Kjellberg leading the charge with 325, and he is leading by 50 points because behind him, it is a traffic jam. Thomas Reiter, Raphael Garin, Ethan Bass, and Daniel Sedgley, all 4 of them sit on 275 points. And again, I like to do 6th place if it's close. Sophie Ridpad, currently sitting 6th, 270 points. So you can just see how close that is. And with some drivers taking a drop week this week, maybe, might be a interesting decision. And in the pro, it's just as close. You wouldn't think at this stage of the season. You would say this after 2 or 3 races, but nope. Oscar Copa and Sean Campbell both sitting on 310. James Armstrong finally getting the monkey off his back, getting that win last week on 305. Then it's Jesse Jones on 280. Did not have the best of weeks last week. Maybe that will be a drop week for him. And then Lewis Ward and Cody Pride both sitting on 275. So the gaps, they are starting to grow. That gap in Pro-Am is really starting to grow at the moment. 50 points different to elsewhere, 20 points there in the amateurs, 5 points in the pros. We knew it was a RSR show in the pros last week, but that result for Jesse Jones last week did not do him any favors whatsoever. So of course, as we know, it is reverse grid. So because of that, we do have the format, and technically, I've been looking at this. We do get this every week. Technically, Ashrad Al-Haddad will be leading off the amateurs. If he is here, then it will be Stuart Reynolds, in theory, who'll be starting the Pro-Ams. But with no Stuart Reynolds here, it falls down for Copin, and he's not here. So we'll get that for you quickly, because we know Maxine Stotens will be leading off the pros. Yanis Albert will be P2. Sylvain Dupuis will be 3rd. And then Fabian Scheistek 4th. Lewis Ward 5th. James Armstrong 6th. And Sean Campbell, Oscar Copa in 7th and 8th. And Ben Smith will be starting at the back of the pro field. Harry Wills will be the Pro-Am pole position tonight with Mitchell Mashalkoverd, sorry. I gotta get that right. Will be there behind him. Sophie Ridpad. Then Daniel Sedgley, Ethan Bass, Thomas Reiter, and Alvin Kjellberg. You have to start from the back, but with not a lot of drivers here tonight due to the special events coming up. It may be a little bit of help for him. In the amateurs, Ashrad Al-Haddad will be leading them off with Michael Fowler, Goetz Gisecki, Verna S, Angel Padero, Timothy van der Broek, Simon Dodd, Andy Madel, Dean Timms, Juan Manuel Calleja, and Michael Patterman. Now, Michael Patterman's got a lot to get through tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see how he can progress. The format ever good here in the World Series, where championship leader has to start at the back of the field. So that promises to be one that looks very interesting. So you're wondering why, you're wondering then the guys at the back start at the front for these races. That is what we're going to expect. So bit of a gap between the pros and the pro-ams. Gives us a nice little rundown. But remember, you're seeing them here coming to the bus stop, and you're thinking, we're getting ready to go racing. So remember, endurance pits. Maxime is going to hold them as long as he can. The starting zone starts at the after La Source. Just after La Source. I think we all know the curves on the exit of La Source there. That is the starting zone. So this is going to be a long wait. And let's see if anybody catches that. He does not realize he's gone already. It's the wrong start zone. This is not going to well. He has not realized this is not going to go well. And if he slows down now, what's he doing? Is he slowing down? No, he's just gone straight away. So that is going to be something the stewards will have to look into. With green flag in the pros, and this is actually for everybody off in the pros. Yes, Albert picked it up straight away, but he had to follow on as to such nature. And everybody's now just going through straight away. Lewis Ward looks like he's gained, James Armstrong, gained a position. We're going to keep watching them for the moment because they've gone a little bit too early, and that is a driver just had a little bit of an off. That is James Armstrong. James Armstrong taking the corner wrong. Let's look at the pro-ams very quickly. Harry Wills is going to be leading them on, and yes, Harry Wills will be leading them. Just a quick look elsewhere. Now this is how it's meant to be. Harry Wills will let them go. Andy Mader was right behind, and there might be a little bit of a squeeze there with Sophie Ridpad behind him. We know what these Ferraris can do, so it's going to be very interesting to see what the Porsche of Marshall Kaverd can do. Oh, he's getting a little bit tight there as Sophie Ridpad going to use this slipstream. And Mitchell's going to have to take the inside here, going to have to be very defensive. And he's going to have to watch out because behind Sophie Ridpad is her teammate Daniel Sedgley. They're almost 3 wide behind, and that is the 69 of Alban Kelberg trying to make some moves. And he catches Daniel Sedgley off there and some good moves. Quick look at the amateurs. They are already gone as well after how Haddad has taken that lead. Werner S is the only one under threat right now from Timothy van der Broek. There's a little bit of 2 wide near the back of the field as well, but Timothy van der Broek will get that on Werner S. And there's a massive cluster at the back of the amateur field here. Simon Dodd, Kalea, Panaman, Timms, all trying to get together. It is very bunched up at the back of the amateur field. Are they going to get through Lake Coombe all in one piece? They do. And Angel Badera had a spin. He had a spin, and he's gotten very lucky there because that's a very light hit because of the tyre barrier here. Maxim Sotin still leading Fabian Sisek, trying to make that move on Albert. They're going into the bus stop, and they are a little bit 2 by 2, but he does make it work. Really good move there. And hang on 1 second, if that's Sotin with a slowdown, it looks like Sotin's had to take a slowdown. That is not where you want to slow down on the first lap. And yep, he's had to take a slowdown. He is right now near the back of the field with James Armstrong, who also had to serve a slowdown. Not what you're going to see. Not what you want to see with a start. You get a slowdown. This is Angel Badero. It looks to me like he clipped the cross. Did he just take too much speed? Yeah. It looks like a little clip of the grass there at the exit there of Malmedy. Bit of a shame going on there. Now, Sylvain Dupuis, he's also experienced a slowdown at Eau Rouge and Raidillon, and he's going to be losing time. He will go down the order a little bit as Fabian Sisek continues to lead in the Ford. Because in the old days with the Ford, we actually knew what it had to do in terms of pace. It used to be a very fast car on the straights of last year or a year or so ago, and changes to the car. It's still quick. It's not what it used to be. Fabian driving around in the Iron Brew livery is managing to hold off, and you can just see that train. I always like to talk about if it's yellow numbers on the timing tower, it's less than a second. If it's orange numbers, it's less than half a second. Expect that a lot. Andy Madel's now under pressure. And hang on, don't go too wide there. That's going to be, who is that beside him? Andy Madel was just having a little bit of a moment there. He had to avoid a 2-wide situation there with that looks to be. Was that Simon Dodd? I think it was Simon Dodd, or one of them, one of the drivers there, the Eclipse drivers, might have been. Andy Madel holds off there, but he had to let Juanmo Alkea through as he was going through the S's, and there's Michael Panaman right on the back, and Madel's had a spin, and everyone's trying to avoid him, and he does get tapped there by Dean Timms, and that's unfortunate there. I think Andy Madel just clipped the grass, just missed it. We'll have a look at that very shortly. Sophie Ridpad also under, but it looks like Sophie Ridpad's had a moment as well. That wing does not, from that angle, that wing does not look good. As the camera starts to pan down, you can see it. Yes, it is. Now that's Andy Madel. Almost the same thing we saw with Madero. There was nowhere for Dean Timms to go. That was unfortunate there for Dean Timms and Andy Madel. Action is happening everywhere at the moment. This is Maxime Soutins there. He is in a little bit of a scrap with James Armstrong. Now, are they going to take it too wide up Eau Rouge? No. James Armstrong uses that as an opportunity to get a little bit of fuel saving. And I don't blame him one bit. He will take that opportunity. And on board right now with him on the gyro cam, he will use as he knows he's got the slipstream. Maxime's going to put his car near the middle, but it's going to be all for nothing. He realizes this position's lost. Side by side they'll go, though. He will start to fight this if James Armstrong doesn't have it. There's a little bit of a tap there. Might have been Netco. James Armstrong gets through with no problem. Well, I say no problem. There was a problem there. There was a light tap. But he manages to get by. And as you can see, once again, RSR train has started. It's only 2 cars tonight. No Jesse Jones. But Oscar Copa leading Sean Campbell in 3rd and 4th respectively, as Yannis Alberts is doing a really solid job, because like it is with most tracks when you're talking about fuel saving and high speed, you need to keep up with the slipstream, which is why taking an early cut, an undercut here is never a good thing to do. But they will hold on, and if you hold on as long as you can, it does help you. Slipstream is imperative here. It's very, very crucial that you stay with it, because you do lose a little bit of time. Now this is Yannis Albert here. It looks like he's had another moment. Is he going to clip? Is he going to clip, or is that an off track? Yeah, it looks like that's an off track. Remember, iRacing does have the new off track rules here. And with Spa has opened up the racing, you are still suspective of getting those off tracks around here. So you've got to be careful around these corners, especially here. You think you can take a lot of curb, like Timothy van der Broek just in front of him. He's got Fowler, and you think to yourself, you can take a little bit more curb, but it will cost you. It will give you an off track there at Wuhan. So he holds on. Michael Fowler here. He is just gonna be in this little battle here. He's got Van der Broek right behind him. He wants to keep on the slipstream of his teammate El Haddad for Twisted. He can keep on that slipstream. That will allow him to keep fighting. Back to the pros. And Yannis Albert does have a move, and straight away he's pulled over to one side. He has got all the speed he needs. Brakes in time, gets in front in time. That's imperative. All of a sudden, the Sim 3D sports car has taken the lead. Now it's up to him to keep the pace that this pack has had. And they've been doing low 216s at the moment. So that gives you an idea of where we are with the pace. Pro drivers holding on. In fact, the Pro-Am's also doing the same type of pace. I know our timing tower got the Pro-Ams at the top. You see the pros as well. So the timings are all okay. Do not worry about that. Hope everyone is doing okay. It's early days in the race. We've only had 10 minutes so far, and this might be the chance of Van der Broek in that BMW, but the Ferrari does have a lot of pace, and Van der Broek is going to try to go around the outside, and Michael Fowler, I think he's had a slowdown. He has. Timothy van der Broek almost came up to the back of El Haddad there for a moment. That just gives you an idea of exactly how much speed he had. To some really good racing, and I am surprised at how quick that BMW is. It's one that does struggle. Now I see Maxime Soutins has connected. No, I thought he had a disconnect. He's still there. Do not worry. Nobody worry. We've only had only one car currently a lap down. Gilles Kosecki, I think he's having hardware issues. The start to the Pro. It is what we expect to see. It is the train that we are used to seeing around here on this track. As you see, they'll just keep onto the back of one another. They'll use this. They'll feather the throttle in plate racing style in NASCAR. They'll feather that throttle to make sure they stay as close as they can without going over speed, and then probably a little bit of a lift before they get into the braking, save some more fuel. You may look at a +1 by some of these drivers, and you may look at a +2 on different tracks, but not today. And a little bit of a bump there. That's what Fabian's looking for. A little bit of a bump drop. He'll hold on to that, and Fabian just going to allow this to continue. Their pace again, 2:16.1, so still the low 2:16s by the pros. So you've got Albert still doing his thing, and he's keeping the pace, and you can start to see the RSR boys. They've held on here. They're pretty content, and they're happy with where this is going. So that's we may keep seeing that in the Pro-Ams, but we shall see elsewhere. Lewis Ward, and that is coming out of Brussels into No Name, and it looks to me like he probably got a bit too much of the curve. Probably just hit a little bump there, and that's what's happened. We come back to racing. Van der Broek with a big run out of Radeon there, and he will take this with no problem. He takes that lead of the amateurs, and Al Haddad has no answer for him. Just out of curiosity, you can start to see Paterman there is in P6. That's your championship leader. He is 3 wins in a row. Can he go 4 is the question. Well, with the way he's racing right now, there is Fowler. He's almost made a move on Fowler there, and in fact it's still going on. And you know what, he's going to make this move, and I think Fowler's just accepted it. And to play the safe game, Michael Fowler's just gone, okay, take it. And the Panda 1 Racing Lamborghini continues his charge up the field. Remember, he's probably got the toughest of challenge when it comes to getting up the field, because the amateur field is the bigger of the 3 fields out there today. Alvin Kelberg started at the back of the Pro-Ams, and look, he's already on the back of Harry Wills. That gives you an idea. And meanwhile here, we know Oscar Coker and Sean Campbell have already got to where they want to be. They're comfortable. They're in this lead pack. You can start to see the gap with Armstrong. It's almost 3 seconds away from these 4 cars, just having a nice little jaunt around Spa today. And it reminds me, I loved going to the cycling, you know, having a comment about the cycling. But it really does feel like if you see them all going together in a line through the corners at the same time. Reminds me of track racing. When you see the team track racing, the team sprints, and you see all 4 cyclists all together going as hard as they can. That's what it reminds me of right now. Look at them in unison, weaving through together, and then taking the same line, holding on. This could be hypnotic. This is very hypnotic for some people, I must be honest. So just look at it. It's fantastic to see. And you kind of got the same thing with tandems in the amateurs right here. Al Haddad just there. So you've got an idea of just how that is going. Just look at this. Just look at it. Look, a little tap of the brakes there by the Ford. And there they go in unison down to Stavlot 1 and then Stavlot 2, even taking the same amount of runoff. This is what you like seeing from the racing, and they'll stay like this now for the entirety of the first fuel stint. And being we're not even 15 minutes in, we're 13 minutes in. Just gives you an idea that they can run like this for a long time and expect them to do that. So once we get to the first pit stop, we may see a different formation here. We may start seeing the RSR drivers all together and the rest and the others not there. Which, of course, that's another factor about Spa, the entry to the pit lane. It's an obscure one. You've got the wall surrounding you to go around the corner. It kind of is extending the chicane. So you take your right, you go up that little hill and turn the left, but with the pit lane, you go straight on, and then you take your right, you go straight on a little bit, and the track flattens out, and you turn left. And again, it is walled in. We have seen it before. Drivers will get caught off by that entry wall into the pit lane. Will it happen today? Well, let's hope not. Anything can happen, though. We hate to say that, so hopefully it does not. We don't really want to see any more issues. We have seen a couple cars already go. Maxine Solutions did indeed park the cars. It looks like there is a little bit of technical issues there for Maxine, and apart from that, that's the only retiree we have had today. Goetz Kosecki currently a lap down. Now, this is the amateur battle. It's a pro-am battle, sorry. That is Harry Wills, Alvin Kjellberg, and Daniel Sedgley. Ethan Bass and Michelle Marshalkovert as well, a few places down, but Ethan Bass trying to catch up to these guys, and just in the slipstream range there. Kjellberg, of course, looking to try and take the lead. He would love to extend that championship lead he has at the moment with Harry Wills in front of him. He is starting to feel like he has a chance at that. But never say never, especially with Daniel Sedgley. We know what these Ferraris are capable of, especially with Sophie Ridpad and himself. We know exactly what they can do. So we wait and see. They do have a lot of top-end speed. Unlike these drivers here, they're all in Audis or Lamborghinis or that Ford, and Davey might be the one that's got a little bit more overspeed, but you can start to see he took a little bit of a different line. Don't think it was him looking for an overtake. However, he started thinking about it, and you start to notice as well that Armstrong started to close that gap a little bit. This pace is starting to slow down a little bit in the pros. And 3 laps ago we were talking about that gap being 3 seconds. That's been sliced exactly down the middle right now. It's 1.47 as you see, and closing. Which makes the question, is the pace from Albert not good enough? Or are they happy to just do this? Looks to be Oscar Copa wanting to make a move, and Oscar Copa may make a double here, and that's a very brave move, and he's going to be side by side with Albert going into Malmedy. Can he hold on to this? He cannot. And you know what? Fabian's going to make a move right here. He wants to get this back into themselves. Side by side with Copa he goes, and they're going to be side by side going down into No Name, and Fabian will have to yield this position. Copa has started to think about where they are right now, and I think he realizes with Armstrong so close to them now, he has to start thinking about making a move and getting the pace up. We'll come back to that, but at the same time, Alvin Kjellberg still looking like he wants to make moves on Harry Wills as they come through Malmedy now. And look how much curve you can take nowadays. With the endurance headlights there on the Lamborghini, he's keeping it calm at the moment. Let's have a quick replay. Goetz Kosecki, it's not going well for Goetz. And that is a little bit of a spin. Yeah, that is a tough corner at any time. Buhon there. You see he just started to lose it a little bit. Kjellberg there, just using all the curve. You can see Wills didn't use all the curve there. Buhon, interesting. It's just different ways you take it. And I think some people still thinking with the old day, with the old off-tracks day, you don't want to run that. Late lunge from Sean Campbell. Is he trying to go and force himself in here? He has. And Sean Campbell is just going to take away that P3 from Fabian. Fabian will fight this because Campbell has lost a bit of time making that late move around the outside of the bus stop. I know that the exit of the bus stop is technically the inside. It's always a move around the outside, and that's a great move from Campbell. And a heads up there from Fabian for Paceworks. I think he realized if he kept with his normal line, there would have been some heartbreak there for both drivers. So Fabian giving way. And now you've got the issue that Campbell is not on the back of Copa, and Copa is side by side with Albert. And I think finally, this is what I was thinking. Copa has the lead. We thought this was going to happen the moment we saw Copa start making some moves last lap. And that's exactly what he has done. Oscar Copa now in the driver's seat of the race, as well as the driver's seat in the car. Look at this. There was no competition. Well, there was a little bit of competition. Manages to get it to work. He kept that side by side, and when they went through Malmedy, he lost it a little bit there, but did keep onto it. I think that was the previous lap there when they may have just had an issue. Alvin Kjellberg now he looks like he wants to make this move on Harry Wheels. He wants to try and do the exact same thing. Will he? No, you look at it, lifts. Very interesting. Kelbo goes for the fuel saving strategy. I mean, I could talk until the cows come home when it comes to that. However, he continues on his path of just fuel saving. And it's a very interesting strategy. It's one we expected to see, but he had so much speed. Later in the race, yes, you've got to take it. But right now, I understand. Fuel saving, not a bad thing. So Sean Campbell's caught up to Yannis Albert this lap. As you would expect, that pace is going to start... Well, the lap times are going to start dropping again. Maybe Copa will get back down into the 16s. I don't think we'll see a 15 yet. But with 20 minutes on it. In fact, Campbell's going to go for it again. He's not going to try and go 2 bus stops in a row. No. Just took too much speed there. Could not get the overlap. But Campbell realizes he needs to be with his teammate. And he's got Fabian right behind, threatening him at the same time. Does Fabian go for a move here? He does not. And Campbell is going to hold on as much as he can. Because any battle he sees with Fabian is not going to help him. And slowly, that gap with Armstrong, it starts to shrink. Campbell does have a run on Yannis Albert right now, and I believe Yannis will have no way. He does try and sell the dummy. And look at the teamwork. That is a teamwork move. Copa moves to the inside to give a little bit of slipstream to his teammate Campbell. That is a great little bit of teamwork there. You rarely see that in such a way. We always talk about, will they give slipstream or not? But you rarely see a move like that. So really good heads up there from Copa. Probably Campbell got on the radio just there and said, I need help. While we let the pros just go. This is Michael Fowler. Does he take a little bit too much of the curves? He does. Yeah, we've done it. We've all done it. You've got that haste. You want to try and get around that last part of the bus stop. You just rolled into the sausage curve there. So that is unfortunate for Fowler. What it does mean, he does lose a few positions here in the amateurs. And you start to see the amateurs on the timing tower. The gaps have started to spread out a little bit. But meanwhile here, the top 4 of the Pro-Ams are all together right now. Sean Campbell has had, we'll get back to that in a moment, but Sean Campbell has had Yannis, right behind him. And of course you do have Fabian as well behind the 2 of them. And there could be some moves coming up shortly. If you're Fabian, you're thinking, I've got to be there with Sean, otherwise I'm not going to win. If you're Yannis, you're thinking, I've got to be there with Sean, or I'm not going to win. It's key for these drivers to stay with the RSR Lamborghinis, just to give yourself that slipstream. Remember, slipstream is very crucial around here tonight. If you don't get the slipstream, you are going to have an uphill battle, no pun intended, as they slowly get ready to go up Eau Rouge and Raidillon. You are going to have that issue around here. So you start to see now the gaps start to spread out. They're still in slipstream range. But also Copa is trying to extend that lead. And also, he did a 2:16.5 last lap, if we round it up. And with Sean Campbell, it's a 2:16.3. So the RSR guys are now starting to pull away because Albert already did a 2:17 flat, and Fabian just going under the 2:17 mark as well. So be interesting to see, because at the same time, James Armstrong is on the back of these drivers now. So technically we have a 5-car train in the pros, and in the Pro-Ams we've got a 3-car train, and in the Ams we've got this 2-car train, as Van der Broek continues to just hold and pull ahead ever so slowly in the amateurs. I say ever so slowly, that's mainly just due to the fact that the pace is basically near identical in all of these drivers. In fact, for the Pro-Ams, Ashrad Al-Haddad was half a second slower last lap, but Juan Manuel Gaia is starting to turn the screw a little bit in that amateur battle. So we'll keep an eye elsewhere. That could also be some slipstreaming possibilities, just like you're seeing right now with the Pro-Ams here with Harry Wills, Alvin Kelberg, and there's Antrad Al-Haddad he's trying to make the moves. I say that he's been overtaken, sorry, I do apologize, he's been overtaken. Al-Haddad, unfortunately, losing that P2. Juan Manuel Calleja did indeed get that position done, as we kind of fought with the slipstream. We're not overly surprised. Can he now catch up to the back of Van der Broek? Fabian Scheitek has come into the pits there. I believe that is an early pit stop there. He's trying to get a jump on them again. Losing the slipstream is going to be an issue around here. And then also you've got the long pit lane. The longest of pit lanes, as I was talking about at the start of the show. Is pit lane one of the longest around? So Fabian looking that hopefully a little bit of an undercut will help him. Now, will it trigger the rest of the pros to come in? I doubt it. We'll wait and see. But at the moment, they're just staying in. But of course, that allows Ben Smith and Dupuy, civilian Dupuy, to have a little battle for de facto P5. And you know what? Ben Smith holds onto that going into Lake Coombe. Defends that around the outside there. So I think Dupuy did not get the line he wanted there. You can see he's losing out on a bit of time at the moment. Ethan Bass, I think he is just watching this and thinking, is he going to do this? Can Kelberg finally get by? And side by side, and finally he has the run. Alvin Kelberg takes the lead of the Pro-Ams. Now Harry Wills is going to be at the mercy of that Demon Tweaks Texsense Fitzy Ford. That's a mouthful. I must tell Ethan that's a mouthful. Regardless, and Harry Wills, he just had a moment through Bruxelles. And now he's side by side with Ethan Bass, and you know what? He lifts. Nobody wants to take the side by side through No Name tonight. It's a safety move, I think, at the end of the day. So that does help them. Unfortunately, that allows Alvin Kelberg to start getting ahead here. And in the battle with Slipstream, Ethan Bass is now thinking, I've got that P2. I kind of want to stay on the back of Alvin here, but he's unable to at the present time. Now Harry Wills has an SCW Ferrari behind him. It is not Sophie Ridpad, somebody that he has had trouble trying to get past, because Sophie, in Harry's own words, has been one of the best defenders he has seen. So Sophie really making that Ferrari wider than it looks. There's a different Ferrari out there at the moment. James Armstrong now does indeed come into the pits, as does Dupuy, as does Lewis Ward. The pros are starting to pit, except for the top four. If you see the Pro-Ams coming, they do not. So that looks like a strategy battle there for some of the pros. As Sean Campbell, Oscar Colbert, and Yanis Albert stay out with Ben Smith as well. And the same again, we see Marshalkoverd does come in to the pits for the Pro-Ams, but these guys in front are fuel saving. So don't expect to see anything yet. But Yanis Albert staying with the slipstream of the RSR boys, that's going to help him. Even if he's not gaining on them, even if he's unable to do the lifting before a corner, he's in the slipstream. Just what he needs. That will help him with fuel. As you start to see all the AMs. Power of the timing tower. All of the amateurs are now in the pits. They will see who gets. And I hate to say it, but I think, yeah, we've had a little bit of a, yeah, Timmy Van der Broek coming out of the pits, going round the corner. Remember, it's endurance pits. Timmy Van der Broek hit the inside wall. So, don't know if he's got any damage there. We'll wait and see. Copa and Campbell can continue on. And that is a pit lane. That is a pit. They will come in and they go. All three of them, Janus Albert as well, come in with little problems. So they'll come in. We don't expect to see Albert making a jump per se. Anything can happen. All the pros in the pits. Daniel said battling with Harry Wills coming into Blanchimont. Can he hold on to this? This is going to be a tight one. And Harry Wills decides it's not really where I want to be. So he's going to take this. He's going to accept it. And that's amazing how brave that was for Daniel Sedgley. And it is, of course, because they're coming into the pits, it is a battle for position, just like this one, with Lewis Ward trying to get around back markers at the moment. Want to get that track position, as the top 5 in the Pro-Ams are now all in. So I believe that makes every driver taken their pit stops now. A little bit, not a little bit early. We know that a tank can usually go 30 minutes, but as you can see at the moment, that's not the case. Dean Timms, according to our timing tower, the only driver yet to make a pit stop. And you know what? It is very true. Currently leading the way in the amateurs. We expect him to come in this time, and he does. Let's take Scheistek though. Does he go for that? Does that move work for him? It has indeed. Brilliant move, though. He did spend 5 seconds left in the pit lane. That's gonna result to possibly another lap. This is Angel Padero while we're just looking at the damage report there. Losing it. Now that is... well, that's coming out to Blanchimont there. So very interesting, weird place to lose the back of the car. But look at that gap now. It's 2.5 seconds for the Ford. Going down 2.4. Fabian has made a miracle. The Ford leading a race. I always like to joke about the Fords, but the RSR boys are going to have to work together. Copa there, ever the experience, he will look to Paul Campbell. Well, I don't mean Paul Campbell is in, tell Campbell to pick up the slack, I'm going to carry you forward. Campbell is a competent driver in himself, but Copa leading the way here, he feels that this is the best way. Copa gets there, takes them there, then they can get in front. And almost, well, we saw that move they pulled off. What was it? About 5 laps ago, where Copa gave the slipstream to Campbell when he was trying to make an overtake down the Kemmel. Expect to see that later on. That gap is slowly dropping. It is 2.3, 2.4 now as they come around Blanchimont. So maybe Fabian, now in clear air for the first time this race, has got something. We don't know. We shall wait. But he drops in a 2:16.470 for his first outlap after the pits. And he doesn't have to worry too much about the RSR drivers at the moment, 2.5. But remember, he's in the pits for 5 seconds less. That is over a lap less of fuel taken. So that could play out later in the race when we come to the second pit stops. But as you can see on the timing tower, the closest battles are indeed these in the Pro. Alvin Kelberg and Ethan Bass currently battling for P2 in the Pro-Ams. And Harry Wills trying to battle Daniel Sedgley for P4 in the Pro-Am as well. The amateurs at the moment, it's very quiet as they start to tighten the screw, per se. We're starting now, we're coming up to the halfway mark of the race. If you've just joined us, you have not missed much in this small field this week, because it's Bathurst 12-hour week on iRacing. So a little bit of a smaller field, 27 cars. Pole position, Maxine Sotens unfortunately has retired due to what we believe a mechanical issue. Goethe Kaseki is also retired. In the pros, Fabian Chaitek does lead, managed to get the jump in the pits. The first round of pit stops was able to get the jump on the RSR drivers of Oscar Copa and Sean Campbell. In the Pro-Ams, it was Harry Wills leading the way, but just before the first pit stops, he unfortunately did fall down a couple of places. He's in P4. Championship leader for the Pro-Ams, Alvin Kjellberg, as you can see, was leading. And all of a sudden, he's not leading anymore. Ethan Bass does have that position. Now, that is a move that has happened this lap. Here it comes on the replay, and it is going to be the move down the Kemmel Straight. And Ethan Bass is going to take the Ford. So I want everybody to get their cameras and take a screenshot. Because what you are seeing right now are two Fords leading a division each. That's, just trying to think, doesn't really happen a lot. So two Fords currently leading Frey. Alvin Kjellberg will probably get that, will probably try and get that back in a lap or so. Ethan Bass now got clear air, just like the RSR boys here, trying to get clear air as they're trying to close this gap. The Fabian Chaitek Campbell will not be fighting Copa at the moment. He'll get right to the edge, and behind is indeed two Sim 3D esports drivers. So Fabian in a Ford all by himself. Then you've got two RSR guys working together to catch up. Then two Sim 3D drivers trying to work together as well. And again, Albert is getting pulled by Armstrong. Armstrong using his experience to go by. We know what Armstrong's capable of. We've seen what Albert's capable of. Not saying that Albert is getting pulled along and getting carried, but he has to do it. These are the fastest lap times, as we just have a quick look. Last lap, sorry, I do apologize. And look at Albert there with the slipstream. 116 flat, almost. Followed by, you've got those low 116s elsewhere. Dupuy doing a 217, sorry, Smith doing the 217. But you start to see, especially in the Pro-Ams, where a couple of those drivers have slipstream capability, have the slipstream, you'll see them in those 216s. Meanwhile, you've got the likes of Kjellberg with that mistake there, well, not mistake, but having to let a driver through in that 217. So interesting to see the time differences. Of course, now Kjellberg's had a lot of slipstream. You'll notice at that time will probably go down as Ethan Bass. That was his fastest lap of the race. Seeing quite a few oranges out on the timing tower at the moment. That Harry Wills Daniel Sedgley fight isn't coming out yet, but remember, it's one of those where you've got to be careful. Those Ferraris are very strong, and also those Audis from Sim 3D Sport are very strong, because Armstrong has done a fantastic job to get them back in the queue. And all of a sudden, that gap is coming up to half a second. It's 0.8 to 0.9, sorry. As we start to see them. Oh, that's a beautiful camera. Look at that. That is a very good camera, because if you take all four wheels over that on the left, that's an off-track now. And thanks to the off-track, the new off-track rules, drivers can take that so aggressively now and ride that curve. Really love seeing that camera there by Steve, just to give it an idea of where that camera is. I wish I had that camera when I first started doing a race when the new rules came out on this track, because that was beautiful to see. Just like we're seeing the tandem racing once again. It's always nice, you can tell without looking at the timing tower. Oscar Copa has the white wheels, Sean Campbell has the black wheels. That's a very wide no name there by Copa, but Kjellberg now, he's the one that wants to look to make a move. No, he goes for the fuel save again. Very interesting. Was not expecting him to do that. He had a very good run. You could hear the engine was starting to just really hit that red line. He was getting ready to make a move, but he decides against it. 2:16.6 last lap. Harry Wills 2:16.5. So they can do that. That's an Angel Padero down into La Source. Does he get the back going out? Yeah. Missed the apex, tried to turn it a bit more, and the back said no. The weight transfer there just not helping him out how he would like to. Kjellberg continues to stay this way. 35 minutes to go. We'll keep an eye on that. We also, while we see the RSR and the Sim 3D guys all coming together now in one harmonic group of Lambos and Audis working together, that gap to the front of the field in Fabian Schweizer, it's it is still slowly dropping. 1.5 seconds now. It's taken about 3 to 4 laps for that to drop down. And you will see the times: 2:16.5 for Fabian, 2:16.2 and 2:16.3 for this group of 4 that is starting to, I wouldn't say they're working together, but if they start like this, they'll start catching to the back of Fabian. Anytime soon, we may see everyone having to try and get around Fabian just because of the pace differences. That will be one to keep eyes on. I reckon, give it a couple laps, we may see. Yeah, give it a couple laps, and we may see those pro drivers get onto Fabian. Sophie Ridpan, remember, she had a bit of an issue at the start of the race. Looks like she's got that wing fixed though, which is very lucky, because sometimes the wings on these GTs don't get fully fixed, and was able to, but still unfortunately a lap down. Surely Albin Kjellberg's going to go for it now. He could have, but he's playing the wise game here, and he's only losing a tenth or half a tenth to Harry Wheels each lap. So it's not like he's having issues here. There's Harry Wheels in the background there. As he's entering Malmedy, Harry Wheels is just through Les Combes. And there you go again. He'll start to see in his cockpit very shortly. He'll see Kjellberg, but then Kjellberg will just dip down into Bruxelles. He can't see him. Comes around. He can't see him as he comes around Bruxelles. Might see him at the bottom of the hill here down into Pujon. And he does indeed. But that's as close as he's getting at the moment. 3.5 or 3.3, sorry, is the gap there. Stefan Bass is still holding off this Lamborghini of Albin Kjellberg. When I say he's holding off, he's actually doing a good job, because if he's forcing Kjellberg to not make the time-wasting move into Les Combes, by that I mean, you know, Kjellberg can make the overtake, but he will have to do right before the braking, get out to the side. So instead of what we've seen where people just make the move right, but way before the braking zone for Les Combes down the Kemmel Straight, Kjellberg could have made it in Les Combes, but decided against it, knowing that they would lose some time. And you'll probably start to see again a little bit more lifting there. Almost sounded like he put his foot on the clutch as he came through. I said this was going to take a few laps to get by. I was thinking a few laps they'll be in the slipstream range of Fabian. Well, they were not faster than Fabian last lap. In fact, the fastest car in the pros was James Armstrong. So all of a sudden, it is, there you can see right there, the fastest lap last lap was indeed James Armstrong with a 16.302. You can see 451, 384, only less than a tenth difference. And Copa wants to pull that closer. He has to pull that closer. Otherwise, he's got an issue. Now, Kjellberg has the run this time. Surely. No, now that to me, when I was talking about get the move done before the braking zone, that is what I mean. He had all the speed there. He had the overspeed from the slipstream going up radio, but did not get to use it, which was very interesting. Because I thought that was going to be Kjellberg's move there. Again, only loses a tenth to Wills, but that was a tenth at the line. He's now lost 3 tenths to Wills, so just keep your eyes open for what could happen there. Excuse me, Albert has had a bit of a moment there, and he's lost the slipstream. Watch him start to fall. In that timing tower, you'll see Albert there in P5. Watch that number start to rise as Albert starts to fall. Not a speed, not a pace issue, not a skill issue or anything. But he's now off that slipstream. He's off that train. And that is going to be so hard to try and compete with that train. Already 4/10 slower. And, that's just at the moment. All the drivers in the top 4 there, all doing practically the same times last lap. So watch that gap start to just expand a little bit. Unless they get onto the back, Fabian Scheisse, and then the pace starts to slow. That's the only way I can see him catching up at the moment. But we're half an hour left in the race. We've had 45 minutes. A lot of these drivers probably did an IMSA race with GT3s. A lot of these drivers probably did GT3 races on iRacing this last week or the week previous. They're past that point now. They are now into that 30 minutes that you don't get with official sprint racing. And Alban Kjellberg, I don't think he'll make a move here. Remember, he had a couple of chances. I think he's just holding on to it. Here he goes at point 3. You'll see him starting to get closer, and he just decides there's no point. I'm gonna lift off. There you go. It is a clutch. It is a clutch, as you can see. You can tell that. Well, if you haven't got the audio, you can see as well that the lights, the red bar, going all the way down. Some drivers do like to use the clutch. Other drivers do like to just do the lifting. There is no real winner when it comes to what's better. A combination of the two does work very well, but then you've got to sacrifice some pace. I'm a fan of the lifting myself, just because, well, if I'm brutally honest, we have had some gearboxes blown by doing the clutch method a couple times in races in our team. So we want to make sure we keep the car very safe. We want to make sure we keep that car alive. So lifting for me is the way forward. Daniel Stedley, as you've just seen there, he is still in the back of Harry Wills. But that gap is now 4 seconds. He did lose a little bit of time last lap. I say he lost a little bit of time. He lost a little bit of time now. He didn't lose time last lap. So Kjellberg's going to start thinking to himself, is this working? If I can get that extra lap, yeah, okay, it's working. Is he, though? That is one he's got to ask himself, because definitely Sean Campbell will be saving a lap here. I think Copa's just playing the long game here. They are matching Fabian's times, but remember, from my stopwatch, he spent 5 seconds less in the pits than Fabian, which does attribute roughly to a lap of fuel. If my maths is somewhat correct around here. So Fabian is going to have to hope that he does keep himself near the front. But the pace now, they're matching. And they are matching very well on the front of that field. Just a quick dip as well, very quickly. You can start to see in the Pro-Am very quickly. Van der Broek has been leading this race for quite a while now, and he's got Juan Manuel Correa, right with him. But Correa has not been able to do much at the moment. The Nitro Racing Team Porsche there, he's unable to catch onto the back of Van der Broek in that BMW. So it would not surprise me if we just see him going for a fuel saving strategy or using that to his advantage, because right now it's been like this for a lot of the time in the amateur, where Juan Manuel has been holding to the back here of Van der Broek. So expect an overtake in the pits, if anything. I cannot see Juan Manuel making that move anytime soon, because you can see he's had that overspeed, he's had that slipstream. What has he got to show for it? He's not as close as the likes of Alban Kjellberg. Again, that's just the nature of the Porsche versus the BMW. Just like the BMW versus the Ferrari here, Daniel Stedley finally gets past Harry Wills, and this is how he did it. And colour me shocked, it is at the Kemmel Straight, and there you go. That is a good example of what I was saying with Alban Kjellberg a couple laps ago. Get the move done before Lecum, and then Harry Wills is going to be following him into La Fagna and loses the back. Probably a bit of dirty air, probably just unsettled the car with a little bit of braking there. and loses a little bit of time. So now it was a battle for P3. He's now in a battle to save P5 with Marshalkovod right behind him. Fabian Scheisse did come into the pits, as you'll see. That is one going to be interesting. 25 minutes left. Is he thinking pit windows open? I've got to do this. That is a very early time to come in, and he's just gone into the box right now. This will be very quick, but also where is he going to be in terms of the pro-ams? Has he timed this right? As we will see. Momo Okaya and Timothy van der Broek go around again. I just want to keep my eyes here on where Fabian Scheisse is going to come out, because he may come out, as we see Ethan Bass and Albin Kjellberg, as expected. Fabian is going to be coming out right past this battle between Harry Wills and Mitchell Marshalkovod. That's fantastic for him. Yes, he may have to fight these guys to get around them, but he's in such good space right now. A little bit of clean air. Maybe he was a couple seconds too early, but he is in a fantastic place. He might have to get past these two. However, we just see Andy Madel. Oh, what's going to happen here? Down into Lafanya. He's just done the exact same thing as Harry Wills. Probably just a little bit unsettles the car and just loses the back of it. So that's unfortunate there for Madel, but that's two BMWs doing the exact same thing. And El Haddad now wants to get a little bit racy with Harriman. Harriman is fighting this, and he's going to try and make this into Malmedy. Does not, though. Cannot make that move. Malmedy, that is. If you can go side by side with Malmedy, you will get me raising my voice. I will tell you that for sure. But unfortunately, he was unable to do that at this present time. In some respect, that's kind of a good thing. Because I wouldn't want to be doing that at all, going side by side through Malmedy. It's like these two. Will they be going side by side through the bus stop, I wonder? Now, Kjellberg, again, he's going for the fuel save. And every chance he's had, I felt that he's had to try and pull over to one side, make a move. He's fought differently, and he's decided, I'm just going to hold on and fuel save. And you cannot fault him one bit. Just like Daniel Sedgley. He's been fuel saving behind Harry Wills for a decent time now. He's come into the pits as well. There's Fabian Scheisse. He came into the pits. He does have that Porsche. They are technically on the same lap. He's not lapping them. Maybe he'll use Marshalkovod there in that Color Shop Racing Porsche. Maybe he'll use him as a little bit of slipstream. That would really help him right now. He'll come up, well, he'll go down the hill to Eau Rouge and Raidillon. It would not surprise me if he pulls over to the right here. Just gets the move done, and there you go. Marshalkovod knows what's going to happen here. He does lose out in a battle with Harry Wills. However, what's important right now is keeping himself alive there in P6, and Fabian Scheisse gets by. And he hasn't really been held up. And that's what I was saying. He's not been held up. So that will be interesting to see. Also, he only spent 1 minute and 2 seconds in the pits. So maybe there's a chance for him. Van der Broek, leader of the amateurs, also in the pits. Cecilian Dupuis getting around a couple lapped cars, it looks like there. Does indeed. That is a couple lap cars. It looks like Harry Wills. No, sorry, that is El Haddad and Padaman, sorry. As they continue their battle. And they are now de facto P1, P2 with some of the amateurs in the pits. So Padaman all of a sudden just trying to get racy. It looks like he won't be getting a chance at winning this race. His streak of 3 wins in a row will end at 3. Won't go to 4. But can Ethan Bass, can he get himself a victory here? Not looking likely with the amount of pace Kjellberg has had. Kjellberg has really been tightening the screw around here. Now, something's interesting. Timothy van der Broek has spent a long time. He was the leader of the amateurs, and he spent too long in the pits. This is very concerning. Has Van der Broek got a slowdown? He has not. Has he got damage? Oh, do not tell me he took tyres. Do you know, he might have taken tyres. No, he did not. So it looks like he's had to get some damage repaired there. Van der Broek will lose the lead of the amateurs. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that as everybody else comes into the pits. Remember, we were saying it's hard to judge where people are when it comes to pit stops on the endurance layout. So thankfully, with the timing tower and also the timing, we are able to get somewhat of an idea of where they are on the track. Sean Campbell and Oscar Copa, they've still got almost 5, 6, 7 minutes of fuel left before they come in. Fabian taking that early pit stop really did throw things in the air, because he can go the distance now and he hasn't had to fuel very much. Be interesting to see what everybody else fills up. Again, Kjellberg holding on to the back of Ethan Bass. Very good racing. Because let's be really honest, I think the biggest gap Kjellberg has had between him and the back of Ethan's wing has been about 0.4 of a second ever since they came out of the pit. So really good going from Kjellberg to keep up to the back there. But also at the same time, they've been matching pace near enough. So Kjellberg accepting the pace is good. With Harry Wills having that moment, doesn't have to worry too much. So doesn't need to worry about the pace going. Daniel Stegi just went into the pits as well. So these drivers, they're happy at the moment. There's Sean Campbell. Just look there. There is James Armstrong. He's out of that slipstream. And then right behind him is Albert, his teammate. And I said about that slipstream effect. Look now. Albert just really far away. Again, it's not a pace issue. That is just the nature of the slipstream. All that pace coming from the slipstream. Again, he was 4/10 off them. Sorry, even Bass just coming into the pits. Harry Wills coming into the pit. So we knew Alvin Kjellberg would be going longer. How long does he go? With 18 minutes on the clock. He could probably go another, do I say 2 laps? Maybe. We'll keep an eye on that. Van der Broek, by the way, like we said, he had a long pit stop. To give you an idea where he is now 30 seconds away from Simon Dodd, who was P4 in the amateurs before the pits. There's Van der Broek, and you start to see 27 seconds. Simon Dodd's just come out the pits there, as he was in P4. So that is where Van der Broek is. He'll get some positions back, but unfortunately, that looks like the lead is all gone for him. It looks like he'll be having to be complacent with a P5 that's what I'm thinking on paper. I'm going to look at that a little bit more with the stats. Stephen Bass came out of the pits in a really strong position. Campbell, Copa, surely they're going to think about going to the pits. There goes Copa. Campbell can go an extra lap, as you would expect. But with Copa into the pits now, all eyes on this man, Fabian Scheisseg, as he comes down into La Fagna. He did from cone to cone. That is how I do my timings. It's 1 minute 2 seconds was cone to cone for Fabian in the pits. What does Oscar do? That's the one that's going to be crucial. Now remember, Oscar's pit box will be at the very bottom, because he was near the front, so he won't be at the very, very bottom, but he'll have to go through all the pit lane before he gets to his box, as Fabian continues around here. In fact, where is Copa in there? He's just come around the corner there, the source corner in the pit lane. He's yet to get into his box. Fabian's now coming around to the bus stop chicane. Fabian still not in his box. Fabian now in his box. We're going to have a little bit of a race here. What can Copa do? What does he do? He's already in here for more time by the looks of it. Fabian now comes across to La Source. Copa's still in his box. Copa starts to roll. Fabian is now out of La Source. This is going to be tight. Copa may have this. He may get this. There is Fabian. He's got a car right in front of him he might be able to use, but no, Copa's already there. He's up the top of the hill. Almost loses the back of the car. Copa is right there. This is going to be tight. There is Timothy van der Broek, a lap car. He gets by, but a second behind is Fabian Scheiseg. And Fabian is nowhere. He's just in the slipstream. And James Armstrong is a second behind him. This could be interesting when Sean Campbell comes in. Fabian's right there now on the back of that Lamborghini, the RSR Lamborghini. What can he do in the last 15 minutes? Can he catch up? But this does say to me that RSR are now on their own respective movements, because you've got to think to yourself now that Campbell will have to go a different way. Now, was that Fabian getting a little bit hesitant going around Van der Broek there, the lap car? He does lose a little bit of time. James Armstrong will be losing more time though. Fabian Scheiseg is in a prime position to make some moves. And there is Sean Campbell. He finally comes in. Yannis Albert comes in as well. Now, I actually feel that Copa is in a further ahead position when Campbell pitted to where Fabian was when Oscar pitted. So we'll keep eyes on that. Werner S in the pits as well. Michael Fowler in the pits as well. I think Alban Kjellberg is still yet to pit for the Pro-Ams. I reckon he'll be coming into the pit with the rest of them very shortly. And indeed, he does. Copa now coming around Blanchimont. He does have Fabian behind him. Whereas Campbell, he's still yet to get in his box. Copa did a 114 cone to cone. What can Campbell do? Where is Copa? Copa now coming out of the bus stop, across the finish line, down into the source. Campbell finally in his box. He's at a bit of an angle here. He's going to have to do a little bit of a turn when he comes through his box. Campbell now out of his box. It's going to be a roll there. He's going to get held up by a lap car. That's right now. That's going to be right in front of him. Does that hinder him? Copa's going to come down now through Eau Rouge and Radion. This is going to be a tight fight here. Can he get onto this? Who gets in the lead here? It is going to be Copa. Well, what about Fabian? Can Fabian hold on to this? He cannot, but he's going to have a bit of a run. He's going to have the run here, but can he get it with the lap car? We're going to go free wide here all of a sudden. And around the outside is Fabian Scheiseg, and he will hold on to this. There is nothing that Campbell can do. Campbell loses out of P2 there to Fabian Scheiseg, and now it's a battle with 13 minutes to go for these pro drivers. And if Fabian has to battle Sean, that just allows Oscar to keep pushing ahead. Kjellberg is out of the pits as well, as you start to see. Kjellberg came out. He's just coming out right now. He's 4.5 seconds ahead of Ethan Bass. What has happened to Ethan Bass to be that far off? He just did a 2:16.3. Did he put more fuel in? Has Kjellberg just managed to save that much fuel? We will know at the end. But that's very interesting. And also, this is Ben Smith with Sylvain Dupuis. They're in their own little battle all of a sudden. So the pros have just come alight. Dean Timms as well in the pits for the amateurs. He will come out. Well, he's still in the pits. Juan Manuel Calera will take the lead of the amateurs. They've got an 8-second lead over championship leader Michael Patterman. But Fabian now, he is being hampered by Sean Campbell. Sean Campbell wants to try and get this position back. This is going to be an interesting battle here. Fabian will take the inside to defend. Puts his car in the middle. Good defense by Fabian. I'd say brilliant defense going in there, but he has cooked it a little bit for the bus stop. Is there a cutback for Campbell? No, it's too tight. It's too tight. And that is going to give Fabian, means Fabian will have to try and go for defense here. He isn't setting it up, but Campbell, he has a little think about it. But no. No, he does not. And now down the straight, and you've got to feel, if Sean just holds on out of Radion, he's got this. But that gap now for Copa, it's starting to grow. It's getting larger. And all of a sudden, this is playing in to the RSR hands. Fabian's going to take that inside line. He's got no choice, but there is nowhere for him to go. Campbell is going to just pull ahead here with the overspeed of the slipstream. There is a small bit of overlap. Is it going to be a late dive by Fabian? It is not. Fabian thinks differently. And he decides, I'm going to have to wait. Maybe I can do the exact same thing. Now, this is Harry Wills. I thought I just saw somebody towing Harry Wills through Lafanya here. Moves at the back of the car. Is he going to hit the wall? He does not, but a full spin around. Hold the brake. No! And I think that might be a little bit of a death there. I just catch the end of that. Nowhere for anyone to go. Oh my days. Goes flying. Was that a Sim 3D driver? Do you know what? That might have been a Sim 3D driver. I don't see James Armstrong. James Armstrong's in the pits. Not again. Not again. The most unluckiest man in the series gets caught out, and in Wills' defense, he did all he could there. And that is such a shame for James Armstrong yet again. So that changes proceedings in the pros. That also changes proceedings in the Pro-Ams. You start to see that very long and bunched up name of Marshall Alkaverd in the timing tower, as he's now takes P5 in the championship in the Pro-Ams. Oh, Albin Kjellberg continues on his way. 9 minutes 30. Look how long it is. I love that Steve had to just get that up there. Look how long that name is. I'd say look at the roll bar. You know how everyone's got their names above their above the door. That name probably goes on and on and on. If you're a baseball fan, you will know the name Salamakia or something like that. I cannot remember the full name, but as you know, on the back of any sports jersey, your name is a line. His name was so long it had to be a semicircle above the number. That's what I think about here. That's what I think about when I see Mitchell's name at the moment, and it's the same. There it is. You just saw on the door. It is quite big. So. Eight minutes 14 remaining, and it has kind of quietened down a little bit. Fabian Scheistek is still there looking at trying to make a battle here. Can he? Is the question. Can he catch up to Sean Campbell? Because Sean Campbell is so close to Oscar Copa right now. That's one we've got to keep our eyes on later on. Juan Manuel Correa is currently leading in this Porsche. He's currently leading the way in the amateur, and that would be a great win for him. He could do with a victory. He has had 2 second places, a 3rd place and a 4th place. He could use it. Albin Kjellberg, well, simply put, he's had 2 wins and a 2nd place and a no result. And remember, he's already 50 points ahead. And when you think that in P2, Stephen Bass, technically, there's 4 guys, the 4 drivers, in 2nd place. So one of those drivers is gonna get the points they need. But Ethan Bass will he won't even gain. The gap will be 55 points if it stays like this. Even if Daniel Sedgley comes P2, it's still, even if Thomas Reiter comes P2, it's still going to be at this stage a 55-point lead for Albin Kjellberg and Roscoe Copa right now. I see a lot of yellow coming on right now. And that is Campbell looking like he is going to be in the racing mood, as is Daniel Sedgley, or Fabian Scheistek, Fabian can keep up. Fabian's not had the best of times. 85, 75, 65, and that no result in the first race. So he really needs to hope we can get some good results here now. With that drop week of 65 is going to hinder his position. There's that lovely little corner once again. Campbell won't have a move this time. Fabian's starting to see that gap, and you start to see it starting to pull away. Those Lamborghinis starting to use all that slipstream to catch him out, and a slide going into Lake Coombe by Fabian, and that might be all she wrote for his chance of not just a P2, but also a chance at victory. Maybe things will happen. I mean, the 2 RSR guys, they're tied on 310 points each, and with James Armstrong having another, it's hard to say, but another bad night, just with bad luck. You know, it's such a shame to see that going on. But maybe Campbell will get a move out here. He might be able to make something happen. We'll wait and see. You'll see there's not a lot of yellow happening in the amateur or orange. There's one yellow in the pro-ams with Reiter capturing onto Daniel Sedgley. There's a yellow as well in the pros with Smith and Dupuis. So if the gaps start to close, you know we will be on top of that. He would like a little bit of a points boost as well, just to help him through when it comes to the standings overall. But Campbell starting to close in a little bit here with exactly 5 minutes to go. What's interesting, they are going 33 laps. Regardless of what happens here, it is still going to be 33 laps by... They're going to cross the finish line with about 20 seconds left. So that just gives you an idea of the pace. So Copa, Campbell holding on to these, and also Campbell just doing a 2:15.858. Not even its fastest time, but again to the 2:15s at this stage of the game, that has got to be very good for you. And you know what? He has got a lot of overspeed here. Will he go for the move? His teammate Copa, they're going to be doing respectful racing here. Campbell's just going to stay on the back. Campbell's just going to stay in the back. You know what? Is he going to try and sell a dummy here? He does not. He lifts. Like, you can't tell me they're going to be complacent for 1 and 2 like this. Surely there's no multi-12 happening here, or not multi-21. Is it? They're both champions in the World Series? Surely not. Campbell's not looking at making any moves at the moment. Very interesting, very interesting. We get them in for we get into an interview later. We'll ask them those questions, but this man may have some words to say. What has happened to Ethan Bath? Coming into the bus stop, too much speed, and there we go, loses the back of the car. That might be his chance at the victory over there. Looks like, again, too much speed. All done it in different types of cars. That has happened very much. That has happened quite a lot, when it comes to racing. Thomas Reiter, you'll start to see that timing tower has gotten very close with Daniel Sedgley. And that was just coming in to LeCun. So Thomas Reiter now in a battle with Daniel Sedgley for P3 in the Pro-Ams. Like I said, we're going to have to keep eyes everywhere on the track here. Thomas Reiter using the best of that slipstream, but also taking half a second out of Daniel Sedgley last lap. Maybe that is one to come. And there is Oscar Copa. There is Sean Campbell. No moves happening yet with 2:44 remaining. I was quite right with that 20 seconds ago when they crossed the line, because there they go. They'll cross the line now. 2:35 left on the clock. So, yeah, about 20 seconds. I'll give myself a pat on the back for actually getting a prediction right. Regardless, Copa Campbell will start the penultimate lap in this race, and you start to see there is Fabian Scheisek. Only way he's got a chance here if these two make a mistake and take each other out. Knock on wood, it won't happen. I can't see it happening either with the respect Campbell has been giving Copa. Nevertheless, Armstrong has retired the car. That's an interesting one. But can Campbell make a move here? You know, he looks, and Copa goes for a defense. Maybe they're now in race mode. Campbell does it, though. He does make the move. He had the overspeed, and Copa let him through. And just like that, Sean Campbell takes the lead with 2 laps to go. So the next question is Thomas Reiter going to do the exact same thing? And it's going to be tough. We know what Daniel Sedgley is like with this Ferrari. Him and Sophie Ridpad has had a Ferrari with so much top speed. And we know what Ferraris are like for top speed. If you remember the old 488 GT3 on iRacing, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about drag. Not a lot of drag here. Can Reiter pull himself by? He's going to need a lot of overspeed here, and he's going to need a lot of help. Is he going to try and make the move? Sedgley will try and defend this, and there you go. Sedgley goes to the middle of the track. Weaves a little bit to the inside. Is he trying to sell a dummy? Reiter's going to try and do this. No, if he's going to do it, he wants to do it around the outside. Side by side they go, and Thomas Reiter tries it, but it does not work for him. That's the first warning shot. Thomas Reiter is in a good position. He wants to do that. Sean Campbell and Oscar Copa still close together. Look at that on the timing tower. It was at one stage 0.017. And Van der Broek is not the P5 like I thought he would be, but he is close to P6, and this would be very crucial for the man trying to catch Michael Paterman in the championship. If he can get by BMW on BMW as they are almost near the end of their race, through into the bus stop they will go. There'll be no move this time by, but it is white flag, and in fact they will start their white flag because they've been lapped by the looks of it. Indeed they have. Oscar Copa and Sean Campbell will lead us off to the final lap. And there's flashing from Sean Campbell. They see the white flag going by. It's always interesting that the white flag waves there when the finish line is of course after the bus stop. Campbell, Copa and should I say all there in the top three. What can either of these guys do? And Campbell is in defense mode. Goes to the right, goes to the left. The double move is allowed. And Copa may go for the late move here. Not going to be late, but it's going to be side by side. The teammates are going to go side by side, and Copa may have this. They're still side by side going in to Malmedy. Still side by side, and Copa has to yield. Copa has to give the yield. Meanwhile, Van der Broek, El Haddad, nothing to shout home about. Thomas Reiter, Daniel Sedgley, nothing to shout home about either. These three battles are all going to happen on straights. And Reiter and Sedgley is the next one. This is the P3 in the Pro-Ams. And with the low number of Pro-Am drivers today, this is a vital P3 for one of these drivers. Can the Panda 1 Lamborghini make this move? He's got a really good run though. Really good run as he comes out of Raidillon. Can he make this work? He'll have to do it around the outside. Daniel Sedgley will defend the inside. And look at that. Once he gets that to slipstream, he does not get side by side and run away. He's going to try this. Side by side they go. If they're going to beat him. Oh, he can't make it. Cannot make it. And that it might be all she wrote. Last chance saloon for Oscar Copa. David Scheitek is right behind him. Campbell does not have the slipstream with D. Tims in front. He is going to have to do this on his own with no assistance. They come around Blanchimont. It's 0.2 of a second. Copa's going on the rickety edge here. And Campbell will take the inside line defending. Copa's going to go really hard. Copa's made a mistake. Is he going to lose P3 here? No. But Sean Campbell will get the victory. And Oscar Copa will take home P2. David Scheitek tried everything he could to get that P1 or P2. It just was not going to happen. In fact, yes, the finish line is down the bottom of it. It is not now. So Copa does take that P2. Dupuy will come across the line. And he will take the P4 in the amateurs, sorry. One more okay is still going on there. Let me see Dupuy come across. Thomas Reiter, remember, he was the last man that could have made a move. He is about to come across to the bus stop, and it's not gone well for him. So Alban Kjellberg will take victory. And actually, Thomas Reiter's just had a spin here. He needs to get going very quickly. He's got a lot of time, though. Alban Kjellberg will take victory in the Pro-Ams. Ethan Bath will take P2. Thomas Reiter managing to keep that car going in P3. Mitchell Marshalkeverd will take P5. Sorry, it was Reiter P3, I apologise. And Mitchell will take home P5 for the Pro-Ams. And then this man will get his first victory, knock on wood, that he doesn't make any mistakes here. First victory of the season in the amateurs. He just got two more corners to navigate the Nitro Racing Team Porsche. That lovely Bumblebee yellow and black. Juan Manuel Correa will win at the amateurs. He knows it. He does the shimmy. The back of that Porsche goes left and right, and he takes his first win. But what a drive from Michael Paterman. Back of the field to P2. It's not another victory for him, but that P2 might just steal the championship for him at this stage of the season. I know. Werner S will take home P3. Simon Dodd will come home in P4. Dean Timms will indeed take that P5. What a race that was. The strategy. We talked about the strategy. The pit lane battles did come out to be interesting. We did think that Fabian might have got a jump there. Did not work for him. And you'll see the amateur results there. Juan Manuel Correa, will win by 8, just under 9 seconds to Michael Panaman. Gunnar S in P3. Simon Dodd 4th. Dean Timms will be 5th. And then it's Adrian Haddad a lap down with Timothy Van der Broek, who must have had an issue there to take some repairs in the pits. Michael Fowler will come home in 8th. Goetz Kosecki 9th. Andrew Madel will finish 10th. Wasn't the best day for Andrew. And then Angel Badero will finish in 11th. Retired early. And in the Pro-Ams, Alvin Kelberg, like we said, will lead them away. Convincing victory after Ethan Bass had a spin at the bus stop, but he takes P2 after a very good battle between the two of them. Daniel Sedgley come home in P3, and Thomas Reiter just close at the end until the bus stop again in P4. Mitchell Marsh-Alkaverd will come home in 5th. Sophie Ridpad had an early incident and finishes 6th. And Harry Wills, I believe, parked the car after also having similar issues in 7th. And in the pros, Sean Campbell does beat his teammate. Sean Campbell will take the lead of the championship by 5 points to his teammate Oscar Kobu, who comes home in P2. Fabian Scheiseg tried everything, but just could not beat the two-man tandem. He comes home in P3. Yanis Albert will be in 4th, and Civilian Dupuis will be 5th. Ben Smith 6th. Lewis Ward 7th. James Armstrong, unfortunate what happened to him. He finishes 8th, 6 laps down, and Maxime Sotens will finish 9th after having, I believe it was some technical problems. We're not entirely sure. We believe that, unfortunately, was what happened. So, let's talk to the man of the hour, celebrating his first victory for the amateurs. Juan Manuel, congratulations. That must feel fantastic after that race.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, at last, finally. Since Suzuka, I wasn't on the first position, and yeah, finally after 5 official rounds, yeah, I'm here. So yeah, quite happy with the race. I had quite a good pace all over the race. I was just behind Timothy all the first and second stint. I was just waiting behind him, saving some fuel and tires, but yeah, finally he had some problems at the pit stop, and yeah, finally the win was quite easy due to that problem in the pits for Timothy.
Yeah, I'm just saying as well, Timothy had a stop and hold penalty for being fast, for being too fast into the pit lane. So unfortunately, his mistake turns out to your victory, which is very helpful. How was the tires? Because it was a cold track out there, so I'm guessing you had a lot of grip.
Yes, we had a lot of grip, and yeah, at least me, I didn't have any problem with the tire wear. So yeah, it was very nice conditions today.
I know next week it's Mid-Ohio next week. I don't know what your experience is with Mid-Ohio, but first of all, I've got to say, I'm guessing we'll be seeing you at Bathurst this weekend for the 12 hours.
I still don't know. Let's see if I can be there. But yeah, it's gonna be a pity, but I think I won't be able to be there. Let's see. I would like to be. So
yeah, it would be nice to see as many people as per usual for an iRacing official. Yes. But like I said, it's Mid-Ohio next week. We look forward to seeing you there. Any shout outs before we let you go for the night?
Nothing. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. Just congratulations also to Team Panda, to Werner S. and Michael Patterman for the race. It was a good race for them. And yeah, I hope to see some good luck for Timothy for next race.
Juan, thank you. You are very graceful in celebration and also with the respect. It's always nice to see the respect. Have a good rest of your evening, Juan. Congratulations on that well-deserved victory, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you, Juan. All the best. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this week. It's been fantastic. Spa, even with the smaller grid this week, due to what week it is on iRacing has provided some really good racing. And say what you want, the endurance pits always provide a very interesting time when it comes to those pit stop battles. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, let's just get Ethan Bass in very quickly, because I've got to ask Ethan Bass here. Now, it was so close, Ethan, at the end of that race. But I think was it just a case of just Albon was just a bit too fast, or was it just a bit of overdriving? Because we did see you make a mistake at the bus stop.
That was probably more in frustration than anything, but I think Albon just had the better strategy. He gained quite a bit in the pits. I made a mistake in the first pit stop, but I think overall, once I couldn't keep in his draft, he was gone. So, but all in all, that wasn't too bad. It's disappointing to say second, even if second's still amazing. But I feel like we could have won that one.
Were you surprised? Because I was surprised. Were you surprised the amount of times he didn't go for an overtake between the pit stops? Because there were times he really probably could have pulled to one side and made that move, and he decided to stay behind. Did that catch you out a little bit?
No, that was to be expected. I could honestly have done the same after the first pit stop when I was behind him, but I just kind of prefer to have clean air in front of me in track position. It means you can do launch them on flat out, all those kind of similar things. It's a case of I could have done the fuel game, but it's just one of those things. I don't exactly, I'm not the best at the fuel saving game anyway. So, and one mistake and you're out of the draft, and then you're gone. At least if you're the lead car, then you've got a bit of a buffer in that regard.
Yeah, it definitely is. I need to talk to you about Mid-Ohio. It's not one of my favorite tracks because I don't like tracks where there's undulations and there's hills. How's the Ford going to be around there? That's what I want to know, because I don't think a GT3 series has been around Mid-Ohio for quite a while. So I have no idea how the Ford's going to be like.
Not since I think maybe early 2021. There might have been 1 week for VRS. I have driven it in officials around Mid-Ohio. I actually like Mid-Ohio. I've driven it in a lot of different scenarios, different cars, and it's actually a track I think is underrated a little bit. How the Ford will do, I think apart from that awkward curve at turn 1, it probably shouldn't be too bad. And there's a decent amount of overtaking spots, and it's lots of places where you really have to hang on to it, and it should make for a good bit of fun.
Well, I mean, the only other question I've got for you, because I always love asking it when it's a special event, what will we be seeing you in this weekend at Bathurst, if anything?
Ideally a Ford, but I have other arrangements, unfortunately, that happened at the same time because iRacing went and redid the schedule for a special event, so I have a conflict, unfortunately. So if I get a chance to run, I will run. I will do my darndest to get it in a Ford, because it may very well be its car's last season, because we get a Mustang next year, potentially.
Maybe, but come on, we've still got to have some love for the Ford. Ethan, any quick shout-outs?
Thanks to you boys, Race Anywhere, for hosting Sim3D for the prizes, and then TechSense, Renville, Demon Tweaks, Fight Caloric Cancer, Majors Garage for helping out the team, and thanks to the Fitstyle boys for giving the paint and cheering me on. Yeah.
All the best, Ethan. Unfortunate there with the spin at the end, but still P2, nothing to be too upset about. Congratulations on the P2, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Mid-Ohio.
Yep, come back fighting. Still not a bad result. Hopefully keep counting on the podiums, and eventually I'll beat Albon.
All the best, Ethan. Anyway, that is indeed it for the evening. Like I said, Spa's fantastic, always is good, and really that tandem racing in the pros was fantastic to watch, wasn't it? Just seeing it. I've always loved seeing group racing. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us on Absolute Sim Racing. If you do like what you have seen tonight, hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button, and of course that bell lets you know when we've got broadcasts coming. We do have the Americas series later on tonight, and don't be afraid to keep eyes on that. So once again, a shout out to Race Anywhere for sponsoring the series, Sim3D as well, and of course a thank you to my teammate tonight, Steve Proudly. I couldn't be here online without him, because I can't stream. So he's been doing the camera work. So thank you very much once again, Steve. So for myself, Craig King, it's thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to spend the last 2 hours of my birthday resting. Until then, have a fantastic evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you are doing Bathurst this weekend, go well and stay safe. And we will see you next Wednesday from Mid-Ohio. So have a pleasant evening, ladies and gentlemen.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone